Get ready for The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's dedicated update show. Events, businesses, and people. Anything and anyone causing a ripple in the community. And now, let's dive in to The Splash Live.
Good morning and welcome to The Splash Live. I am Larry Nyland. A very happy Tuesday to all of you in West Bloomfield, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and Orchard Lake Village. The Splash Live is Greater West Bloomfield's daily TV and radio streaming show. Watch us live Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 10 a.m. on Civic Center TV. Also watch us on Comcast Channel 15, AT&T Channel 99, on the web at civiccentertv.com, on Civic Center TV's Facebook app, and you can also even listen to us live on 89.3 Lakes FM. The Splash Live is part of Civic Center TV and Lakes FM's 90 minutes of live local programming. And we want to remind everyone out there that on our local channels on 89.3 Lakes FM and on Civic Center TV, coming up this Friday, we will be kicking off the home slate for the West Bloomfield Lakers as they will be taking on Harper Woods, and it is Harper Woods' inaugural game playing in the OAA this year. We will have live TV coverage as well as live radio coverage, and stay with us all week long for the wonderful program hosted by Tyler Keefe called This Week in Laker Football, which will be airing all week long. Well, looking at the weather, obviously today is going to be a much nicer weather day than we had yesterday. We've got cloudy skies turning to mostly sunny skies with a high of about 80, and it's going to be clear tonight with a low of 60, and then tomorrow another beautiful day with a high of about 80. Well, we cannot not talk about the crazy weather that we had last night. The big storm that hit all of Metro Detroit, strong winds and rain, just pummeled the area in a fast-moving storm. You can look at some of the images from around the area from yesterday. The trees were toppled over and the power lines were down, causing mass outages. As of 11 p.m. last night, there were 380,000 DTE customers without power. That has been cut in half to about 190,000. I think we do have the ability to pull up the outage map if we could see if there's any local outages still going on. I think there are some still in West Bloomfield. And in the, we can see there's some areas around West Bloomfield that are still affected. Bloomfield Hills has some issues. The Walled Lake is having issues. And that has led to some school closings as well. In West Bloomfield, the following schools are closed today. We have Dougherty Elementary, Chico Elementary, and after only being open one day, unfortunately, West Bloomfield's middle school is closed due to power issues. And for our friends in Walled Lake, all Walled Lake Consolidated schools are closed this morning due to power outages and boil water advisories that are also under effect. If your workout routine has gotten a little stale and cold, maybe it's time to add a little steam to revive it. And just the place to do that is Hotworks in West Bloomfield. Joining us now is the owner of Hotworks West Bloomfield, Doddi Brewer. Doddi, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Larry.
How are you? How did you survive the storm? Were you at your facility yesterday?
We were. We had a couple just flash outs and came right back on. So, as far as I know, it's still on.
So, Doddi, could you give us a little bit of your background and what inspired you to open a new workout facility called Hotworks?
I'm actually in the medical field, and I love health and fitness and that. And I was for several years just looking for something that just hit home for me, and Hotworks did that. A part of my, my de-stressor is working out. So, but my problem is I work in healthcare and we don't have hours like everybody else. So that's one of the things that really inspired me, is that I could go there anytime that I wanted to on my time. And that's important. And I feel like that's important nowadays because everybody is busy. They're working, different hours, different shifts. And, everybody doesn't work that 9 to 5. So that was part of the reason. And I love fitness. And when I did it the first time, I fell in love.
So I have been seeing these Hotworks studios popping up. Can you talk about exactly what kind of a workout someone gets at Hotworks and how it sets it apart from like your traditional gym?
Oh, absolutely. You have 24-hour access once you become a member. You work out in a heated sauna. It's infrared, which if anybody has looked up infrared, it has multiple benefits. They are short workouts. Doesn't mean that they're short on your results. They're non-impact. All of them don't have any impact on your joints. We have HIIT workouts, which are high intensity interval training, which are like a cycle and a kind of a it's a blast. It's a kind of like elliptical kind of cycling mixed together. We also have a rowing machine, and all of these are full body workouts. So even though you go in, and the HIIT workouts are 15 minutes. So even though you go in there for 15 minutes, you get a great workout, you detox. And then we also have isometric, which are just positional and strength training, and really work on full body, your core, your posture, which is very important throughout the years. Doesn't matter if you're young or older, you need that posture, you need that balance. Some of the benefits, and those are 30-minute workouts. Some of the benefits from infrared and working out in the heat, which our heat is different than, I know a lot of people say they've done hot yoga. I feel the difference is when you get in here, you think you're not going to be able to breathe because it's like the heat, but you actually breathe very well, and it helps actually open up your bronchioles as well and kills bacteria. So you have muscle recovery, you have pain relief, you have joint release, you have rejuvenation of your skin. It can lower your blood pressure. It can improve any pain that you have, circulation. It helps cellulite. It has many benefits to it. So even though you're working out, you're actually doing benefit to your body as well, besides just working out. You're getting multiple things to it. So the detoxing, all the other benefits, and plus you're working out. So it makes you, it's unique, and it's just really unique.
So Doddi, so many businesses are having trouble finding workers now, but it's something that I thought was very unique about Hotworks is that you have virtual instructors. Could you talk about a little bit how those work?
Yes. So it's virtually instructed. They are always on time. So those continuously just roll 24 hours. They get replaced about every month. We replace at least 3 of the videos. On the videos, you actually have your instructor, and then you have somebody that modifies it down and somebody that's more advanced. So you have a whole slew of what people can do, and you can even modify down from what they're even doing on the screen as well. You can modify it to, fit your fitness. So that's one of the other advantages of it as well. Is it's always on time. You can modify to whatever you need it to be.
So the fact that it is a 24-hour facility, now do you have someone manned there all the time, or do people just come in with a little pass? How does that work exactly?
Right. We do have staffed hours for new people to come in and try their first workout for free. Which are 11 to 8, Monday through Thursday, 9 to 6 on Friday, and Saturday, 11 to 4. Now, when you come to off hours, you have actually a mobile pass on your phone. It basically just clicks it, it lets you in, and all your scheduling is on an app as well. So you schedule workouts 3 days, you can do them 3 days in advance. It's unlimited, so you can cancel whatever, you can schedule whatever, fits your schedule. You use your mobile pass to get in. You do your workout, and then you go.
So Doddi, for our viewers out there who are interested in checking out Hotworks, can you let us know exactly where you're located and how we can find you online?
Pretty easy to locate. We are at 6107 Haggerty Road, just short of Maple. We are exactly across from the Meyer and Haggerty Road.
Doddi, we want to thank you so much, and I will come check that out because for whatever reason, this last month of my life, I've been doing nothing but eating. So I need to steam some of this excess weight off that I have.
Right. It's yes. Come check us out. Your first week workout is free. Come in, check us out, see what it's like. Um, it's kind of one of those things you have to see it, feel it, and do it to kind of really understand it. Some of the members now are saying, "Wow, how great I feel." Another one is talking about how great she's sleeping, so it actually helps with sleep as well. Wonderful de-stressor. So yes, come check us out. Come in for a free workout. Bring a friend with you. It's always fun to go get into the saunas and do a workout with your friend. We have a couple people that come in, and you can just hear them in there just chatting and giggling and getting their workout in and enjoying each other's company. So come on in and check us out.
Thanks so much for joining us this morning, Doddi. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Larry, for having me.
Doddi Brewer from Hotworks in West Bloomfield. When we come back, we will head to one of our great fire stations here in West Bloomfield and talk with Chief Greg Flynn. That's next here on The Splash Live.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Mark your calendars for the 11th Annual Family Fun Night at West Bloomfield High School. Stop by on Friday, September 16th at 5 p.m. for an evening of free, fun activities as we honor our military, police, and fire heroes. Plus, stick around to see Laker football take on Clarkston at 7 p.m. To find out more, scan the QR code on your screen or visit wbsd.org/community/family fun night.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu.
Connect with local leaders, philanthropists, and more. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce presents the 2022 Leadership Breakfast. Join the Chamber for a morning of insight with guest speaker Laura Graneman, with the whole event emceed by Fox 2 News anchor Roop Raj. Join your local businesses at the Wabeat Country Club September 13th at 8:30 a.m. Order your tickets by September 6th at westbloomfieldchamber.com/breakfast. We'll see you there. And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live. I am Larry Nyland. Joining us now is one of West Bloomfield's first responders who's been helping the community navigate through the aftermath of last night's storm. He is West Bloomfield Fire Department Chief Greg Flynn. Chief, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Larry.
So what sort of calls has your team been dealing with since the storm hit, which was, I think, right around 6 p.m. last night?
So the kind of calls that we see after a storm with the high winds that came through, lots of down power lines and lots of tree/branches, tree debris that has fallen is obstructing the roadways. And that's really starting right there, right about 6 o'clock. That's exactly what crews started doing throughout the township, north to south, east to west. They responded to, in that amount of time, I think there was like 20 requests for service. We know there were more than that, but one of the great things, Larry, about West Bloomfield is neighbors help neighbors. And we've been driving by and see people out with their own chainsaws, clearing roadways, and really taking an active role in making the community safe.
So downriver last night, there was a tragedy in Monroe where a 14-year-old girl sadly perished after coming into contact with a down power line. Can you reiterate that what folks should and should not do if they do come into contact with a down power line, or see a down power line, excuse me?
Sure. When you look at a power pole, a telephone pole that we might commonly refer to them as, there's a series of wires that we see very low. Sometimes, almost like you could reach up and touch them. And those are service lines. Those are usually non-energy transferring power lines. So they're data lines, and your cable and that kind of stuff. Above them, you see a series of smaller wires that are kind of stacked on top of each other. Those are called secondary energy transfer wires. These are usually where the breakoffs for houses and go to businesses will go in. And then all across the top of the pole, you'll see thicker cables that run horizontally, and those are what we call primary lines, and they're carrying lots of energy and distribute them across the grid. When those lines come down, Larry, if a secondary comes down on top of those utility lines, it can energize them. Just like if that secondary or primary line comes down onto a pool metal fence or a chain link fence that's surrounding one property and maybe connects to the next property and the next property and the next property, it can energize all of that conductive surface, all that metal surface. And it's just very important, even if the line looks dead, they can cycle. When I say dead, it looks non-energized. The lines will cycle where a breaker can trip, and then that breaker will reset. So the line could look like it's not energized. And then when it trips again and re-energizes temporarily until that breaker cuts off again, that temporary energizing could lead to a fatal outcome.
So did you notice any live wires when you went to some areas that people called out on yesterday?
Well, often we will get the report as sparking, arcing, or like a small fire in the tree where the line was live. And then the safety that's built into the system that works often, but not always, cuts the energy from that line. And typically when it's mixed with rain, we get there and often the fire has been extinguished just naturally through the elements. We did respond to a small outbuilding fire this morning that may have been caused by a down power line that wasn't noticed, that energized that small shed-like structure, only for the resident to find this morning that there was a pile of smoldering kind of ash and debris out back. So they're out there. They do fall down, and West Bloomfield has plenty of trees that all these wires are running through. And when those trees come down and snap those lines, the power line may not make it all the way to the ground, Larry. It could still be up in that tree, and that's where you'll smell the burning and the smoldering. And the best thing to do is just to call 911, and we'll send crews out. We'll tape off and secure the area, and then we'll use the same app that residents are encouraged to use and report that outage or that down power line to DTE. And that's, they can go to outage.dtenergy.com and report that. DTE is getting heavy volume on their phone lines. So if you want to get in there real quick, use their mobile app or go to outage.dtenergy.com and report the concern.
Do you have any updated figures on how many residents are still being affected by power issues right now?
I haven't, but the place that I go for that is the app. And, so I know that DTE, when we have the opportunity to talk with them, and we do on a regular basis with their community advocates that talk to their public safety connections within the community, that they saw this storm coming and they were ready for it. So they have a team of line workers that are out there already in the field and supervisors assessing the damage. And I'm very confident that we're going to see people coming up. And the advantage of today is a little overcast, a little bit cooler. So I think that should make it a little bit more tolerable until they can get everybody fully energized again.
One thing I was curious about, West Bloomfield is home to so many senior care facilities. Are a lot of these facilities equipped with generators that can keep their equipment going? A lot of it is helping to, keep some of their patients, alive.
Yeah, that's a great question, and we do have an answer for that. That's part of a disaster plan that we encourage all of our extended care facilities to have. So that continuity of that energy source, that backup energy source, and they do. And that's that's very important for us all to have. And I think you bring up another good point where when we have those types of secondary power that can be generated that's already hooked up to a commercial building or to your residence, those are all set up and positioned well to operate safely. Where we get into a concern, Larry, is where people have their own portable fuel-driven generators on wheels. And there's definitely a concern that, hey, someone might in the middle of the night come by and take my generator. So maybe intuitively thinking, they think, hey, I'm going to just put this in my garage and I'll just crack the garage door so the fumes will get out. But the fumes don't follow that path and stay low and go out the bottom. They begin to collect within the enclosed structure, and then that starts to creep into the home and can bring in carbon monoxide, the silent but deadly killer gas. And so generator safety is very important. We want it away from the house, and we want it away from combustibles because the generator muffler gets hot. And, think ahead. Have a chain, have a padlock, put it around a tree so that it's safe. Keeps your generator safe while keeping your family comfortable inside with lights and the refrigerator cool and all of those things. So we just got to think ahead. Being prepared is a great approach for when severe weather strikes.
Well, and we know you and all the folks there at the West Bloomfield Fire Department help to keep us prepared, and we want to thank you so much for joining us and thank your team for all their hard work during this storm that's popped up here last night.
You're very welcome, Larry. Thanks for the opportunity to join you.
Greg Flynn, West Bloomfield Fire Department Chief. When we come back, we'll head to Town Hall and talk with Township Supervisor Steve Kaplan. That's next on The Splash Live.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Fire Prevention Week is just around the corner. Join volunteer, part-time, and on-call firefighters at this year's Fire Open House. Catch up on your fire safety knowledge with live demonstrations and hands-on activities. Chat with local businesses and resources about fire prevention, see some familiar faces, fight future fires, and make some new friends. The West Bloomfield Fire Open House, October 2nd from noon to 3 p.m. at Fire Station 1 on Orchard Lake Road. Connect with local leaders, philanthropists, and more. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce presents the 2022 Leadership Breakfast. Join the Chamber for a morning of insight with guest speaker Laura Graneman, with the whole event emceed by Fox 2 News anchor Roop Raj. Join your local businesses at the Wabeat Country Club September 13th at 8:30 a.m. Order your tickets by September 6th at westbloomfieldchamber.com/breakfast. We'll see you there. And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live. I am Larry Nyland. Well, it takes the hard work of a lot of people at Town Hall to make West Bloomfield Township run as smoothly as possible. Joining us now is one of those hard-working folks. That is Township Supervisor Steve Kaplan. Steve, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning, Larry. I hope you braved the storm.
I did. So yeah, we were touching on the storm last night. I know you guys were just beginning the township board meeting when that hit. So what was the experience around 6 p.m. for you folks?
Right, at 5:57, we learned from your office that the generator was about to be activated, but that the power was off. And that delayed our meeting. It's the first time in 6 years that we began a meeting after 6. We're normally punctual. We began the meeting at 6:07. People at the meeting, Larry, were concerned because they could hear high winds and rain, and one never knows. You walk into the parking lot, there might be 4 fallen trees, but there weren't here at Town Hall.
So are you still getting some calls this morning from folks with some power outage issues and wondering about school closings and things like that?
Sure, mainly school closings and wondering whether we are open at Town Hall, and we are. We have a super generator, Larry, and we're comfortable and confident that we can maintain business even with the power outage.
Yeah. So, Steve, a subject that's becoming a bit of an issue here in West Bloomfield, as it is around all of Michigan, and that's about deer and the number of deer that are kind of roaming around in the area. And there's something called the Deer Coalition that's going to try to address the overpopulation. Could you talk a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, spearheaded by Oakland County. 7 municipalities in the area, including West Bloomfield and Farmington Hills, are part of the Deer Coalition. This arose because residents, not all, were concerned about the proliferation of deer on roads. People are upset for 2 reasons about the growing number of deer in the area. One, of course, would be motor vehicle collisions, and I'll return to that in a moment. And secondly, some residents do not appreciate the deer stampeding on their gardens and eating their food. And back to the deer motor vehicle collisions. We have had 91 collisions in West Bloomfield through June 30. And fortunately, Larry, we have not had a serious injury or fatality, but we all know that a deer can crash through the windshield, happens from time to time, and could cause death of a motorist or a passenger.
Yeah, it is a problem. I mean, it was funny. This was in West Bloomfield. I was around, it was Middle Belt, and I can't remember what the cross street was, but it was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and there was a gigantic buck just crossing the street as slow as me. I'm like, how is that buck in West Bloomfield?
Hey, Larry, you passed that buck.
I did. Yes, I did. That's how I usually do it too, Steve. So, Steve.
Now, on the other hand, if I may, there are people who love the deer. They enjoy watching them in their backyards, seeing them interact with one another. So it's probably a 50-50 split among those in the township who have an opinion about whether we have a deer overpopulation here.
So, Steve, before we let you go, I don't think we've spoken to you since the tragic death of Township Attorney Mike Salhaney. Could you talk a little bit about what Mike meant to West Bloomfield, not only as an employee, but as a great friend to so many people there?
It's common where you talk about a person who died much too soon, about how wonderful that person was and how much he'll be missed. But in this case, it's true. Michael Salhaney worked for a law firm. He's a partner in a law firm, and that law firm provided general attorney services to the township. Townships cannot afford to have attorneys on staff because of the legacy and other costs. But Michael Salhaney had been with us since 2015, and he was cherished by our staff, a very intelligent person, good demeanor. He attended our township board meetings, and from time to time, he would even speak to residents on our behalf. Just a mild guy, and he died doing something he loved. He died doing something that was important to the community, and that was he was part of a cycling team of 5 cyclists in Ionia County, which over a 3-day period, Larry, rode for 320 miles. Imagine that. Some people can't even drive a car 320 miles in 3 days, but he was part of this cycling endeavor, and he was hit by a female motorist, as you know. She was under the influence of drugs, and she passed a UPS truck and crashed into 5 cyclists, including Mike. So we will miss Mike, and I mean, it really is irreplaceable. Not just because of his legal work, but because of his great personality and caring nature.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to take a look, just a couple of hours before the accident, he posted a video, and he was talking all about what he was doing there that day. And if that doesn't inspire people to live their life in a certain way, you know, I don't know what can, you know.
His last words on that videotape, which was recorded at 9:30 on July 30, and then he died or was struck at 10:45, an hour and 15 minutes later, his last words were, "Be safe, everyone." And that just shows his caring nature.
Well, Steve, we want to thank you so much for joining us this morning on The Splash Live. It's always a pleasure to speak with you.
Thanks, Larry. Great job by you as always. Have a good week.
Thank you. You as well. Looks like that's all the time we have here today on The Splash Live. I am Larry Nahn. I want to thank you for watching us. We are West Bloomfield's own TV, radio, and streaming show. Splash Live airs every weekday from 9:30 to 10 a.m. We'll be with you tomorrow. Take care.